Money boy, money boy, money boy. Trade. Money boy, money boy, money boy. Trade.
Private jet flights overseas. Damn piece.
That's happened that can't be undone. There's no justice that can ever be served.
I agree with you, but what I'm still saying is that if you had a country where there were no like license plates or anything like that, people could just drive around in a box and they could just be, and you could pretty much do anything you fucking wanted because nobody could catch you.
There's always consequences to your behavior, personally, communally, in your own conscience. I mean, you act as though the imposition of force and penalty on the government side changes behavior. It doesn't.
Okay,
it doesn't.
Why shouldn't we drink and drive then?
Because it's a danger to you, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a danger to your property, because you could hurt somebody else, because it's bad for your health, even in the drinking aspect of it, not even just the driving. There's all sorts of reasons not to do it, aside from the imposition that law says, that the government says that it's against the law. There's endless reasons not to do something, not even including the government and law. There's real consequences for behavior outside of what the government says is right or wrong, and whether they'll allow you to do it or not. If people were given choice and things were clear, removed from the idea of government telling you you can't do something,
Blake,
people would choose to make better decisions.
You were given the choice to not drink and drive, and you said you chose to get a DUI. Had the government not stepped in and said, we're not going to allow you to drive, you probably would have continued to make the bad choice.
I've drank and drive since then. It makes, I mean.
Oh, God. Why didn't you learn, Blake? You just hard-headed.
I didn't hurt anybody. I've never hurt anybody. And I've drank and gotten past, but I've drank and gotten past the point of comfortability and not drove. I've made my own choice. I've used my faculties and my experience and the ability to see consequences. What's that?
You're rolling the dice. You know drinking impairs your driving.
Everything is rolling the dice.
Your level
every day inherent in all life activities.
Or not, you know you take a risk of harming someone else. Forget you. You're comfortable with it, but the person that you may be harming because you feel like you're at your level of comfortability didn't choose that.
Well, here, Trey, let me roll it over on you a little bit here. You smoke in the house, right?
I do.
Okay. Do other people occupy your house?
No. When my kids are around, I smoke outside or in the bathroom.
Okay. Well, are your kids dependent upon you? Do you have value to your children, not only monetarily, but in conversation and dialogue and wisdom and strategy and vision and perspective throughout the rest of their life?
Yes.
Okay. Then why are you choosing to hurt their future by choosing to smoke?
Well, I'm born to die. I personally smoke. So if I smoke, I'm only putting myself in danger. And regardless if I smoke or not, I'm going to die anyway. You're saying your decision is going to put someone else's life in danger. Me smoking outside or in the bathroom where they're not around it, no contact with it, only hurts me. It doesn't hurt anybody else.
Uh-huh. So you mean if you get lung cancer next year and all your minor children don't have a father for the rest of their life, that doesn't hurt them?
No, they're still alive. They're hurt emotionally, not physically. But they also know that I'm going to die anyway. If it's lung cancer, natural causes, a bullet, it's going to happen anyway.
So there's risk in all of your behavior, not just smoking, right?
But I was talking about your risk putting other people's life in danger and the need for the government to step in to try to stop it. But you just say you're a lawbreaker.
If I choose to go to the bar and I have 5 beers and then I drive home and nobody was hurt, what's the issue?
The issue is, sir, that you've broken a law. You're not supposed to drink and drive.
And you're and you potentially could have hurt somebody. Yep. Nobody got hurt because you were lucky, not because you were in a right state of mind to drive.
So when you drink at home and you get drunk could you potentially hurt somebody?
Yourself.
No, you have neighbors, there's people that are in your house, you have people going up and down the road in front of your house. Could you just act like ridiculously and get in a fist fight or fire a gun? Or I mean, is there potential and dangerous things to drinking at home?
We're going to ignore that question and ask you a question. Have you ever sideswiped a car, a mailbox, backed into anything, knocked your mirror off impaired?
No.
Can I laugh out loud at this? We're going to ignore that question.
Yeah, we're going to ignore that question.
Yes, I have though.
No, I've never done that.
I've only drove impaired twice, so I learned my lesson. I never got pulled over, but I learned my lesson because I didn't even when I realized I didn't even know how the fuck I got home, yet I realized I threw up while I was driving. I was like, yeah, I can't do that no more. But I'm saying it's helpful sometimes.
When I was pulled over for my DUI, I wasn't pulled over because I was driving recklessly. I was speeding. It wasn't because I hit anybody. It wasn't because I swerved off the road. It was because I was going 45 and a 35.
And probably doing it because you were drinking. Had you not been drinking, you would have noticed the cops and slowed down like most people do.
If I noticed the cops and slowed down, he would have pulled me over anyways. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the story was my girlfriend was in the passenger seat, and we went to the convenience store to go pick up some beer for my friend. I was fixing to go to bed, and I was going to work the next day. And I was looking at her because she was laughing and looking all cute, and I was getting ready to fuck the shit out of her when I got home. And the speed zone changed from 45 to 35, and he pulled me over because it was 11:30 at night. He pulled me over right after that speed limit sign. I was 2 blocks from home, and he wouldn't let me walk. He wouldn't let her drive, and I went to jail. $10,000 later, and 6 months with no license, and 2 days in jail, and I hurt nobody.
But you knew the consequences of that, though. If you drank and drive, you were forewarned of what would happen.
No, beforehand, I didn't know. I was not educated as to the consequences of.
So you never knew that it was illegal to drink and drive.
Well, you said consequences.
If you drink and drive, you go to jail. That's a consequence, Blake. You get arrested. Come on now.
You asked me if it was. You asked me about consequences, then you asked me if I knew it was illegal. I didn't know what all would happen on the other side of a DUI. I did know it was illegal, but the previous year they went from 0.12 to 0.08 and all that kind of shit. I mean, these people apply this stuff whenever the fuck they want to. You can't control people. You can't control people with laws. You can't tell people not to do something and then expect them to do it just because you said so. And it's in evidence. People do shit and they do it whenever they want, however they want, whether it's against the law or not.
Blake, I can't.
The reason to choose good behavior isn't because the government says so or not.
I can't believe what I'm hearing. Mario chime in. XP chime in. Mario just dropped. Kev chime in.
Well, I mean, not to, be.
Hold up, Blake. Hold up. Let's stop, because I had a brain fart, but it just popped back. And I said, I can't believe what I'm hearing, Blake, because you sat here and said you didn't know there was a consequence to drinking and driving. You knew it was illegal, but
no, I said I didn't know what the consequences were. Obviously, I was aware that.
Well, you knew one was going to jail, and you were willing to risk that.
Yeah, I was.
So don't say you didn't know consequences. You didn't know the full parameters, but you knew at the least you were going.
I stated that I didn't know what the specifics of the consequences were. Right. Yeah, I'm not denying that I didn't know.
I hope Savage Red hears this. He gonna be like, I cannot believe Blake is making all these excuses for his poor decision making.
Well, you make poor decisions every day. Do you always wear your seatbelt? Do you quit smoking? Do you drink alcohol? I mean, every single thing that we do has risk tied to it. Every single thing.
Okay, can I ask you a question now, Trey?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like, not to be sanctimonious, but I think that Blake is having a hard time trying to accept the fact that in terms of drinking and driving is a crime, and it's a crime that can affect all types of different scenarios on the road, and you're talking about innocent people. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I'm at home getting wasted, I kind of like just wake up in the basement or somewhere the next day. I don't have the intention of harming anyone. But when you drink and drive, there is that what if factor.
Kevin, so here's my thing.
Every single one of you guys on here, when you're driving, you all talk on the phone. You all text. You probably even listen to
I don't
YouTube
talk on the phone
videos.
when I'm
But first of all, my phone is hands free, and I'm not texting shit while I'm driving.
Distracted driving is not impaired driving.
even though it's still dangerous though.
So here's my thing. Here's my thing about Blake. My thing is that if you are saying that you went through all of this court and you had to pay this big fine and the license was suspended, you should be the biggest advocate of not drinking and driving. So if that did not correct the action or make you see things differently, then there's no need to have the conversation because you already made it in your mind that you're gonna do what the fuck you're gonna do. And that's fine.
I don't advocate for drinking and driving. I advocate for choice. I advocate for people to make their decisions based on consequences and their level of awareness and behavior.
Your decisions,
Wait,
Trey. Your decisions are going to put others at risk. And the thing about it is when you go in front of a judge for manslaughter, you're not going to have any fucking left or right margins because you knew better.
And let me add on top of that and then respond, Blake. The government gives you the choice to do it legally or illegally. And if you do it illegally, they have the option to punish you for it because what you're doing is illegal and you have shown the ability to say, I'm going to do what I want. So then they have to take a step to get you out of the community because at this point, you are a risk and a danger to the society around you.
Why? I haven't harmed anybody. In order for there to be a crime, there has to be a victim. Do we agree with that or not?
So what if you would have innocently killed a family while you were drunk driving?
Well, what if has nothing to do with it?
Okay, well, what if you
It didn't happen.
so?
Then I should go to jail because I hurt somebody.
So the government doesn't have a right to. The government doesn't have a right.
Then I should commit my life to helping the family and restitution and maybe mentoring and maybe talking in the community. There's all sorts of different things that you could do on the other side of that. But it doesn't, you saying what if doesn't have anything to do with reality.
But we know reality is that when you drive impaired, that your chances of an accident are substantially increased. We know this.
How many of you guys got a gun in the house?
I do.
Who else?
I did. I can't currently have one until my case is over with.
Okay. Well, if you have a gun in the house, legally or not, doesn't really matter, and you drink and you smoke weed or PCP or whatever the fuck it may be, all risk behaviors increase. The chances of you shooting somebody or getting into an altercation with a gun increase by 20%. Increase 20 times. Like just you having a gun in the house. Now that is risky behavior.
No.
Is it not?
No.
Playing with the gun while you're drunk increases that behavior. It just being in the house is not.
Trey, if you are out on the highway, you instead of operating a moving vehicle, your vehicle now becomes a weapon. And you being incapacitated, you can swerve into somebody that has a newborn. You can swerve into a nurse coming home, a pastor. So my thing about it is if you don't care about other people's lives, you now are a risk to society. So you being at home with a gun, I don't give a fuck if you have a fucking rocket launcher. The fact of the matter is you are weaponizing your vehicle. I'm just saying you can't compare the two because the fact of the matter, you're moving. If you're on the highway going goddamn 75 miles an hour and you swerve and you hit somebody else who can hit somebody else, that's a way bigger tragedy than you shooting yourself in the face or your son finding your gun and killing himself. There are
even going 10 miles over can make a drastic difference.
I used to drink and drive, especially back in college. I thought the shit was funny. And the older I've gotten, you know, I'm in my 30s now. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I don't even like getting into a car with somebody who's drunk. Like, I find it utterly appalling and disgusting that somebody would drink and drive. Like, you got Uber, you got all these things that you can do. You can even go to a local bar and just fucking walk.
Kevin.
Well, to clarify my point here, what I said earlier is I don't advocate for drinking and driving. I mean,
You do
it's
advocate
dangerous.
it when you say you don't care about it, bro. When you choose to
also
do something,
said
I never said I don't care about it.
You said
Please,
it
guys.
didn't stop you from doing it.
You said you recently have drank and drive.
I want him to have a chance to speak. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
There's choice. So you drink 2 beers, you drink 4 beers, you drink 6 beers. There's different levels of impairment. There's different levels of awareness, right?
Yes, I agree. Keep going.
When you drive or when you own a gun or whatever, there's always risk to every single behavior. There's 2 beers, there's 4 beers, there's 6 beers. There's weed in the house. We're smoking. We're doing this. If you have a gun and you drink, it increases the risk of everybody's chances of getting hurt around you. It increases yours, everybody else. So if you have a gun, in the same light as you have a vehicle and the ability to drive on the road, are you allowed
in the house?
Hold up.
I'm gonna let him finish, but if there's a gun in the house and I'm not upset with anybody, why the fuck would I be playing with the gun for it to endanger anyone?
Exactly. That's why I said let him finish. Let him finish.
If you own a gun, are you legally allowed to be able to drink?
Yes, in your house. Yes, you are. You can't do it in a car. You can't be in a public setting with both.
Why? Alcohol impairs your judgment, doesn't it? It impairs your physical coordination.
If you're at home, no one's life is in danger if you're not playing with the gun. If you get in the car impaired, somebody else's life is in danger, not just yours. You act like the gun. You act like just because the gun is in the house, I have to play with it because I'm drinking.
Let's rewind. Can we rewind a little bit? Because I was really thinking about becoming a lawyer, and I want to point this thing out about Blake. Blake says that he got pulled over by the police. He got pulled over a block away. I don't want to quote him, but something like that from the house, and they wouldn't let him walk. Think about it. He was in the car with his girlfriend. If he got in the car thinking I can operate a vehicle fucking drunk and not let her drive, and then when we get pulled over, where the police ain't let her drive, why the fuck you ain't let her drive? You understand? He don't give a fuck. That's what you don't understand. If someone doesn't give a fuck, they normally say it, whether they say the words "I don't give a fuck" or they make excuses. You're saying the police should have gave you leeway, should have gave you pass. Fuck all that. You should have had the common sense between you and your girlfriend to make the decision. I'm not going to put myself at risk, her at risk, or anybody else at risk. You didn't do that. You didn't give a fuck.
Are you telling me or are you asking me?
I'm telling you, you didn't give a fuck. Just like you said, I'm brainwashed and I'm following orders. Motherfucker, I'm smart enough to know I've lost enough soldiers to drinking and driving to know not to do it. You didn't give a fuck. And can you imagine anybody on this panel when we're sitting in court and listening to you talk? Well, it's my right to be able to drink and drive. And they come across that goddamn the goddamn plaintiff to the defendant and beat that ass because you didn't give a fuck and you didn't kill somebody. Can you imagine that shit?
So to address what you're saying now and the things that you just brought in. Now, I've never heard anybody drinking and driving. And you joined the military, so do
MoneyBoy. Trade. MoneyBoy. Trade.
Private jet flights overseas.